Welcome to the Politics of Development podcast. So one interesting question is, how do you balance work and life? How do you manage stress? You work in an environment that is heavy on heavy demands, very stressful environment, and this is the demanding nature of political work. It can lead to burnout, and it can really take a toll on your personal life, your family life, and entering politics can be incredibly demanding. So you must learn how to manage your work-life balance. You must learn how to manage stress for your long-term success. You must understand and prioritize your well-being. The time in office is always going to be sacrificial, and it's always going to be time-consuming. And so I guess that's why they call you a public servant, because you are consistently serving if you're doing it as you should do. And so there's some challenges that I'm just going to talk to you about, and possibly how I have been able to deal with them in my career. So the first thing, bearing in mind, I worked with the governor for 8 years. I also was in the House of Assembly for 4 years. So I have been at the peak of working long hours. I have been at the peak of working with a governor that had almost no time limits. And so this might sound sometimes extreme, but it does prepare you properly for the challenges that lie ahead in public service work. So the first challenge is obviously long, irregular hours. But you need to set boundaries as much as you can. Now, when you work with chief executives, with governors, indeed, it can be very difficult to set boundaries, because sometimes you don't even have your own time, and so it's not easy to say, I'm offline now, I'm online now. But where it is possible, do designate off-limit times for family and personal activities. Your family suffers or sacrifices a lot because you're almost never around. And so you must learn to reciprocate that as often as you can to show up for them. I mean, I remember being called on Christmas Day for a travel, and I remember being called on New Year's Day. I remember being called several times that you would imagine should be public holidays and days of rest, but then you get called out. And it's not so much the call out, it's the absence from family at very memorable times because of work schedule that matters. So you must, if you like, designate off-limit times as much as you can, and learn to say no to non-essential requests, non-essential commitments. There will be times people will ask you to attend an event and you must be intentional to say no. One thing that has certainly helped me in my journey is working in teams and the ability to delegate as often as I can. I have been working and building men and women that I feel very confident to delegate matters to, knowing that they will perform and outperform every time. And I think that is a structure you must build, the ability to build people around you so that you can share the workload and then you can have a proper work-life balance. Another challenge I have seen is the constant public scrutiny. I have had times where I have unlimited number of phone calls coming in, and I remember asking the other day, how did you get my number? And he said, look, you're a public officer. Your number is all over. Everybody can get your number. And that is the level of scrutiny and servanthood you put yourself through when you're in these spaces. But you must learn to be authentic so that you're not living two lives. Living one life is hard enough. Having to live two is a lot of work. And so you don't have to pretend to be someone in the office and be someone else at home. Develop a personal brand that is authentic so that you can be the same every time and you're not putting on a show part time, which can really be stressful. So be true to your values so that you reduce internal conflicts within yourself. This isn't me. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be doing this. Stay true to yourself and let people know who you are. Let people know where you are at. Let people appreciate you just for being the human you are, just for being the person you are, and not trying to live a life of another. Another challenge that I have seen is high pressure decision making. As someone that has worked with the governor and has been in public office, we're always faced with making high pressured decisions, But one of the things that sincerely helped me is seeking mentorship, seeking those that have gone before me to guide me. How did they do it? When those pressure time came, what did they do? How did they manage it? Because the political life, the public life is one where there's very little room for error. And so the more counsel you get, the more guidance you get, the more it's really going to help you. So you must connect with experienced politicians that have gone before you so they can advise how to manage your life. You learn from their strategies, how they are doing it, how they make those very tough decisions. One of them is don't make a decision when you're tired, and so you sleep over things, you wake up feeling refreshed, and you can make much better decisions. I've had challenges in the past of like I said earlier on, it's just the toll of public service, the pressure of being always in demand, always in request. But then one of the things that really did help me was my support system, my relationships, going to church, cultivating relationships, being intentional about friendships, being intentional about moving of pursuing my hobbies, and just having family and friends that I could just really be free around. And I think these are things that you certainly need for a good work-life balance. Now, I have been asked, what about campaigns? How do you manage campaigns? And I tell you for a fact that during campaigns, there is no balance. The balance is skewed. It is heavily tilted into trying to win. And it's okay because it's only for a period. But even in that period, please learn to prioritize self-care, maintain regular exercise, adequate sleep, a good balanced diet, and when it's all over, make sure you get your checkup. I have been in situations where I have had to, after enormous amounts of stress and pressure, I go for my medicals and I ensure that I am my body machine is working as it should be. And so campaigns, absolutely strenuous, tedious, emotionally draining period. You're giving it your 100%. But when you make sure that you are doing all these other things, then you can put a good balance to it. It does take a toll on family. It takes a toll on your relationships. And so you must learn to manage them. I tell my wife, I tell my daughter, these are very tough times, and they understand during that period that what I need most is their support, their love, and their prayers, so that everybody's on the same wavelength, and the expectations they have of me and I of them is able to be met. So involve your family in your decisions, in your political career. They're going to be the closest to you. More than likely, politics, you're dealing with so many people, they come, they go, but your family is going to be very important. So make quality time for family, have family holidays, spend time together, and ensure that you have a very, very strong family support system. Before I close, I just want to say one last thing. You have to learn to manage public expectations. You have to learn that you are, after all, human, so you will embrace your imperfections, and you accept that sometimes balance is often unrealistic. So you must focus on your overall well-being rather than trying to be perfect every time. Develop a growth mindset so that when you fail, you get back up, you pick up your learnings, and you move forward. When you have setbacks or critics, you listen to them, you find it constructive, you learn, you move on. And you must have your eyes on the long-term goal, rather than just focusing on the stress you're facing. Have your eyes on the long-term goal, because that will be the push you need to keep going. So remember, maintain a good work-life balance, maintain stress or manage stress in politics is something that is very important. It's an ongoing process. It requires your constant attention and adjustments as you go along. Be patient with yourself. It's not always so easy, but you must recognize that it's okay to seek help when needed. Your effectiveness as a political figure will greatly be enhanced, and it will greatly enhance your personal well-being and relationships. So set good examples in this area. Be the best you can for yourself, for your family, for those your loved ones, and ensure that you're well balanced and your political influence and political culture sees you or political environment sees you as a role model that they can admire and emulate. I hope this helps you. Until we see again, stay well and stay blessed.